Alright, so I wanted to start with this episode by doing a set overview of Metal Raiders. Because a lot of the times I did notice when they're doing their set overviews, they do talk about the high rarity cards, and obviously you have a look, there's a lot of busted ones, but then there's plenty of low rarity cards that may get glossed over, and those low rarity cards are going to be more relevant in the long run, because you're going to be able to pull three of them more consistently. But obviously, let's just dive right into it. The secret rares aren't relevant at all. The ultras, there's a lot of good ones. There's Change of Heart, there's Barrel Dragon, there's Solemn Judgment, Magic Jammer. Seven Tools is still good. Horn of Heaven, Mirror Force. There's a lot of money here. There's a few whiffs, but most of all, it's mostly very, very good. In these super rares, you've obviously got the Gate Guardian pieces. I feel like they kind of gloss over this a little bit. They're actually very good in the format, and they find that out in the game. Tribute to the Doomed is good. The rest of it isn't great, but Twin-Headed could be good down the road if you pull a good group of Thunder Dragon, and as well as Heavy Storm, very, very nice. The Super Short Prince, there's nothing too relevant there, unless you just want more 2k defenders, which they are kind of lacking on. And then in the rares, there's obviously a lot of good ones here. So White Magical Hat, Mask of Darkness is good. Elegant Egotist can be good. Probably not right now, but later down the road you do get some more Harpy cards that you could use with this. Magician of Faith is fantastic. Sankin's fantastic. Moving on. Witch of the Black Forest is great. Dark Elf is really good. And Robin Goblin is really nice hand control. It can be used aggressively. You're obviously attacking, getting tempo and like ripping your opponent's hand. It can be used defensively with 2k defenders because it's any time that battle damage is dealt, and they're gonna lose card advantage that way. It's really good. Short prints. Obviously, we had the super short prints. These are just a short prints. Clowns are here. And if they pull a good grip of the clowns, that's going to be really impactful later on when they can do like a more competent clown control deck. Thunder Dragon, getting a good grip of that would be really nice, as well as Stim Pack. Obviously, it has a downside down the road, but it takes a long time for that attack boost to eventually be reset, and the game might even just be over by that point, or it's not even going to be relevant because it might get removed via like a card destruction. And Unhappy Maiden is a little bit weird. It could be used in Stole. Maybe, though. Maybe if they have access to, like, the Spirit Barrier. There's a couple of barrier traps they can use in combination with the Maiden. And that could come up. And then we'll have a look at the commons. There's still a lot of vanillas in the set that aren't going to be too fantastic. Other than Harpy Lady. Because it is an archetype in and of itself. Lots of vanillas still, unfortunately. The battle guards I don't think are very good. Soul Release is actually very nice. Soul Release is going to be good right now, and it's only going to get better. It can whip monsters out of their grave, and when they get to chaos, that's going to matter a lot. But it can banish 5 cards from any graveyard. Any cards from any graveyard, 5 of them, banish them. So it can deny your opponent's spell recursion with Magician of Faith, trap recursion with the Mask of Darkness, and monster recursion via Reborn effects, and chaos strategies. And it's a common. It's a really nice pickup in the common slot. Nothing else. Just want to make sure I've got everything. Nope. There is a lot of whiffs here. Prevent Rat's another 2k defender. And I noticed that Gage, in particular, didn't get any in, like, the last set. Juai Gumo is a big one. Tremendous Fire is a big one. You've got Ryukushin Powered as a new 1600 baseline. Ideally, you wouldn't want to, but you might have to. If you didn't get enough, like Juai Gumo, Dark Elf, 7-colored fish, you might still have to dip into 1600. And Tremendous Fire is good because of Juai Gumo and Dark Elf. They're sort of like the meta beaters of the set, but there's a chance that they're going to be very costly on the user's life points. So having like a burn card as a 3-of that can deal like 3000 damage might actually come up. Bistro Butcher is another one. It is kind of clunky at times because you don't want the opponent to draw cards, but it's another 1800 beat if you're desperate. The blue winged crown's the other 1600 you want to use. Block attack, very good in combination with that, and to just beat over Jiragumo Dark Elf. The defense is really low. We have Paralyzing Potion to like temporarily stall out like a big thing you can't get over until you draw like your Fissure or your Dark Hole or something like that. Share the Pain is really good removal. I say really good. It's probably the best that I have access to. Sort of. I mean, it's the best removal they're going to have in multiples. They both have Dark Hole and Simo has Bugeki, but it's a bit clunky because they get to pick. It's really good if they've like consolidated their board into a big beater, like the Gate Guardian pieces, it'd be very good against. But if they're going wide, then they get to pick which thing gets tributed, so it loses a lot of its value. Not very great there. The other thing, and the last thing I want to talk about, is sort of deep-seated. I guess this is technically your third, or the second alternate win condition accessible. Technically, you could have won through Burn in the last set, but there wasn't really much to work with. But now you've got, like, ordinary battle damage, you've got Burn, or you've got Deck Out. Now, I wouldn't say that Deck Out is too viable at the moment, simply because I think it's the most viable for Gage, but the problem is that Simo has Heavy Stone Regeki, so any like board state that Gage tries to set up that's trying to like lock the board up and just trying to win via Deck Out that way, if Simo can just sort of pinpoint that that's what Gage is on, he can just wait for his Heavy Stone Regeki, set up his board, and then just go for game that way. So it's a little bit difficult to be able to do, but it's still an interesting thing to try, and I think Simo could probably do it, because Gage doesn't have a lot of back removal. Yeah, but it's definitely an option. But the problem is it can also be countered by sort of deep-seated. Because if you want to get them in like a top deck situation, or like a sort of deep-seated deck out situation, if they also have it, then you're both just going to be discarding it and shuffling it back every turn, and it's just going to go nowhere. So, a bit unfortunate. I just think it's interesting to talk about, and I think that's everything I wanted. Everything relevant, in my opinion, that's in this set. Make sure I won't miss anything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. With that being said, let's get into their deck lists.
If you want 5% off any singles or sealed product, click the affiliate links in the description and use code SEMO5.
So this is Simo's deck for the week. Normally I wanted to do like a deck comparison. I'm like, this is their deck, this is the deck that I would have done with their card pool. I haven't done that this time for two reasons. So last week, Simo scrolled through his collection, like at the end, after he opened his last pack, he scrolled down. Whenever they do that, I'm able to like see all the cards they pulled. Gage did it again this week, he made it super easy, Simo didn't. So the only cards I know he pulled from this set are the cards that winded up in his final deck, and cards from the packs that he actually showed, which is not going to be everything, so it makes it a bit tough to make a list. But also, Simo pulled extremely well. He pulled really, really well. The list that I would make wouldn't even be that different from what he ended up with. So what I've decided to do instead is just have some cards, where we at? Over here. Just some notable cards that I did know that he got that I would have put in. And the three of them are obviously the Sang of the Thunder, and he pulled the Suijin, and still two-armed ninja from the previous set. Going to be probably even more relevant now, because we're starting to get equip spells in the form of the Sword of the Deep-Seated, and the Paralyzing Potion. Additionally, that could still be on field spells. Simo is, so it's very likely that Gage will be as well. And what I also noticed during the game this week is that Gage was setting a lot of spells. Like, he would, at one point I noted he set a fissure. That's kind of crazy. Simo sets Regeki. Simo sets Regeki. So if they had been playing Arm Ninja, Simo has 2, I think Gage has 3. That would be really punishing. They could watch the episode back, they could make that read that they're setting their spells for no reason. I'm going to just jam in Arm Ninja and I'm going to punish them really hard. Especially in this format, there's not a lot of traps. So you're even more likely to just be able to hit a back row. There's probably more likely than not to be a bluff. Really good value off of Arm Ninja. Maybe not in the main, but definitely in the side deck. So Simo obviously pulled Insane. But much like last week where Gage, I would say, pulled even with Simo, but he made the better deck and lost. Simo pulled Insane this week. Much better than Gage did in my opinion. And he loses. And he loses this week. I have no idea what's going on. Any other things I want to talk about? Obviously, the Sangan and the Suijin, they're really good tributes. They're really good payoffs for having things like the Jirai Gumo. Jirai Gumo can be just a really good beat stick. But when you have something like that that's got a really big downside, like the 3 Jirai Gumo, the Dark Elf, they're really good to just wall up. And that can be good to an extent, but you also kind of want to pay off for that. You contribute the Jirai Gumos for Sanga or for Suijin. They're going to put in a lot of work. They're going to be able to beat over anything. It's going to be great. And I think Gage pulled 1, but Simo pulled both. And I definitely would have played 1 or both of them over Shadow Ghoul, which is what Simo ends up going for. I don't really think that that's a good card at all. I think what lost Simo this week was the Sword of Deep Seated in the main at 2. My thoughts on the Sword of Deep Seated, it's an interesting card. I don't know if I talked about this yet, but it presents an alternate win condition in deck out, which I don't think Simo would really go for. I think it would have been an option for Gage, but I don't think he actually pulled any, which is a bit unfortunate. But if you're going to putting it in the main, it's a really bad as an equip. You don't really want to be using it as an equip to actually be aggressive, in my opinion. What you could do is just side 1, because with its introduction, there is a chance that Gage may have played like a deck out strategy. But if you also have one, you basically shut down their deck out strategy by having one of your own, because it might be bad, it might be boring, but you're eventually going to get to the stage where if you're both like have the board locked up, you're both just going to be discarding the sword, shuffling it back from now and the end of time. It'll stop you from losing. I don't think you'll win. You'd have to resolve it some other way, but it basically stops them from winning via deck out if you at least side one Sword of Deep Seated against their Sword of Deep Seated. Anything else? Yeah, he's got another Shadow Ghoul on the side. Yeah, you could have just had like, I think the Sanga's 26. You put the Sanga in the main, you put the Suijin in the side. If it looks like that strat is really working, and these Gate Guardian pieces putting in a lot of work. Castle's kind of a weird card. I guess he only pulled 1 Prevent Rat, so he doesn't have many defenders. So I guess that's why he has a Castle in there. That's okay, I guess. He pulled 3 Shatter Pain, great card. He pulled 2 Soul Release, great card to have, and I like them in the side as well. 3 Tremendous Fire, I really like that in the side. When you have cards in a format like Jirai Gumo, like Dark Elf, they do opt to get aggressive with them. They get unlucky on that Jirai Gumo coin flip. It's going to be really easy to just get them low. They activate it once, they go down to 4,000. You beat over that, you might get like 1 Sangan hit in, and then the 3 Tremendous Fire is just going to be out. You don't really need to deal any more damage after that, because you'll have the Tremendous Fire out. I don't know about Ring of Magnetism. It doesn't seem that great either. But everything else, man, Simo, he pulled really well this week. He got the Heavy Storm. He's got 2 Magician of Faith. He pulled the 3 Jiwagumo, 3 Bistro Butcher. He's putting in the Yami, which I really like. Combos well with a lot of his monsters. Man, I mean, yeah, his pool is looking scary, I will say. Yeah, not too many changes though. Let's just move on to Gage's deck.
Who's the dummy now? You just donated to a guy that banned you.
Alright, so moving on to Gage's deck list. Our lists aren't that different, to be honest. There's a lot of crossover. You see 3 block attack in both lists, the 2 fissures, just trying to eke out as much value as we can from the limited amount of cards we have pulled. We do have good cards in here. We have Double Fissure, we have Dark Hole, Pot of Greed. He pulled 2 Paralyzing Potion. He only decided to run 1. I think that's kind of a mistake. I'm running Mountain. So he opted to go back, or double back on the Skullbird Birds, which I kind of agree with. But I've also decided, he didn't pull very many of the big beaters of the set. The Jiwagumo, Dark Elf, 7 Colored Fish. Didn't pull a good group of them at all. So he kind of needs to double back on those lower value cards. So we're on the 3 Ryukish Empowered, 2 the Blue Winged Crown, 3 Skullbird Bird, because he has 3 of them, and even though he opted to play it, he only put in 2. And so because of that, we're running the Mountain as well. Just another field spell, try and boost up just sort of our littler guys, just so we have decent statted things across the board. Still won't beat over 2k defenders. We can't really get around that all that much. Even if we were to boost up like our Ryukishins, they wouldn't really get there. We do have like Jiwagumus that can do it. We have the Suijin, which can boost over. We also won 2 Shield and Sword. Sort of Revealing Light's probably going to be big to try and get out our bigger guys, or just try and stall out enough so that we do get to see our Bistro Butchers, our Jiwagumos. What else? What other differences? I decided to go for some more defenders as well. He pulled 3 Prevent Rat, that's good. I also jammed Yado Kawu, simply because he didn't have any other 2k defenders, but just, it can stall out against any 1600s that are in the format. Other weenies, if they come up, like Witch, it's not fantastic, I'm aware of this, but 1 Sangan, 2 Witch is pretty good to have. And I guess the biggest thing is that we have a side deck. And another big thing is I'm not running things like Blue Eyes and Garnacia in the main, or Curse of Dragon. I'm not running the Lava Battle card. I've got more normal summons. I feel like his list is 2 Lava, 2 Swamp. He's got the Suijin, he's got the Blue Eyes, the Curse of Dragon, and the Garnacia. So his list is more monster heavy than mine, but he's got 8 potential bricks in his list, and that's what I kind of wanted to avoid. I wanted just sort of more normal summons that can contest the board more reliably, more often. But I do have the Blue Eyes in the side. It is the best double tribute in the format. I think it's obviously not going to contest the Gate Guardian pieces in the best way, but maybe you can just stall out against them. Still on the Armed Ninja, particularly because field spells, but also now we have things like Paralyzing Potion, which is a common and is pseudo removal. Being able to deal with that would be very nice. Soul Release, as mentioned previously, very good in the format, especially since what we know, Simo pulls Magician of Faith. It can shut that down, can shut down any graveyard removal, or graveyard revival, excuse me. I've got the Yami in the side as well. Again, if the mountains aren't working out, we can swap it out for the Yami instead. That'll boost our Ryukushin Powered. It'll boost our Bistro Butchers. Boosting Jiwagumo would require Forest, which I didn't think... I'm pretty sure that Gage didn't get any of. And boosting 7 Colored Fish would be decent. but I think committing to like more Umis to be able to actually get that boost for just a 1 of on your deck isn't a good idea. Now the Gate Guardian pieces are in the format, so 2 Hain, that's in there on the side deck. Remove Trap. I think the only target for it is Robin Goblin, but if they have it with how strong of a card that can be, it's probably worth jamming Remove Trap in to get rid of it. And 2-pronged attack. Again, I really don't think that Gage's list is as strong as Semo's. But last week, again, I think I mentioned this, Gage had the stronger deck, in my opinion. And Semo like 2-0'd him or something. But this week, I think Semo has the stronger deck by far. And, spoilers, Gage does win. So, what do I know? With that being said, let's get into the gameplay. Let's jump right into it.
That's fair. Main 1, I'm going to normal summon Bistro Butcher and pass. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, give me those 2 cards. I will draw. Nice Bistro Butcher. I'll pass.
It's going to pass.
So by the way, we see the downside of running so many larger tribute guys.
I'm going to go
Gage
ahead
has 6 cards in hand.
Normal
It's probably some combination of Garnecia, Blue Eyes, the Swamp and Battle Guard.
Sure.
Or the Swamp and Lava Battle Guard, I meant to say. The Curse of Dragon.
Okay.
He actually has no monsters to summon.
I will activate my Pot of Greed.
Ooh, look at you off the top. So we're gonna
So this is a little bit later on in the duel.
It's not
Ooh, Hain.
A little bit after the section I showed you, Gage paralyzing potions that reaction powered, and Semo tributes that for his Shadow Ghoul. That's some interesting utility for these tribute monsters that can potentially just get a big static thing on the field, but it also, you might want to bait out things like Paralyzing Potion onto like your just stronger beaters, and then once you're sure that they're just they're a little bit desperate, they're just using it to protect themselves, then you tribute, you get rid of that Paralyzing Potion without actually using Spell and Trap removal, and now your big guy is a lot safer.
I will go.
But Semo attacks into the Hain, bounces it. That's the utility of Hain in the format now that you're getting into like decent tribute monsters. Hain bounce is pretty good.
Oh, he's big.
He is big. It's fine.
And I'm gonna normal.
So I feel like this summarizes the game one pretty well.
Yep.
Even though Gage wasn't able to open up a monster to normal summon, he did follow it up with Pot of Greed. That in combination with White Magical Hat getting in for some attacks, and Gage having some good spell removal, like he had one turn where he Darkhold, Semo's board, Magical Hat, got in and swung,
and then you're gonna draw 2.
And then he's got another hit in by figuring the Butcher he's about to summon.
Go ahead.
White Magical Hat again, knock 2 cards out of Semo's hand. He's drawn, he's gone +1 in that way. Semo's next play is swinging with the Butcher. Give him another 2. He's just getting more value. He's able to. He's got a lot of cards deep into his deck than Semo. So even though his normal summons are limited, he's seeing them now. I think that's kind of wrapping up this duel. That he just out-resourced him through his spell and trap removal and his hand whipping.
It might be the first time you win a game.
Oh man! I'm going to set.
So here we kind of see one of the weaknesses of Gage's deck. His 2K defenders are limited, and in this situation,
Gage,
even if he did have them, he's just lacking enough monsters that can consistently contest the UI Gumo, which Semo has a really good group of, and Gage doesn't. It's just like the big beta of the format. You either need to like normal summon a monster and then boost it with a field spell to get over it, or at least contest it in some way. But at this stage of the game, the monster count is so low, like, you would either need Juagumo removal or, like, Dark Elf Yami boosted to be able to get over this. But then we saw in Game 1 that there were other ways, like Block Attack is a really good one. And I think later on we get, you know, some specific removal for Juagumo based on its defense, things like that. But it's just really limited. in these
shit.
early sets
Okay.
and
It's only
engaged.
got 100
Unfortunately,
attack
it doesn't
now.
have a
I'm going
lot
to
of
normal
answers.
It's all of
summon.
them. It's all of them. Hane. Oh
So
my
in game
God.
3,
Bounce that face
in this one we have got to see some Hang utility.
I'm
He
going
hasn't
to-
bounced any
But are you
tributes
gonna
with
tri-
in this
You
one,
do
but what
not
he did
have
do was
it.
bounce
You do
back
not have
a
it.
monster
I'm
that
gonna
was
tribute
equipped with
both
the sword of
my
deep seated.
aids to summon.
Just as a way to like shuffle back the monster, but also shuffle back the kill spell, so that
Dark magician, I know.
Simo is
But it's
whiffed
still
the
pretty
draw.
good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
I'm
And
going
we've
to
also
go
seen
battle
some
phase,
utility in
and I'm
Sword of
going to
Revealing Light. Now Gage only has one, and we're not always
Dragon
going to see this, but
Okay, so I take 3.
he played it,
I'm going
he's
to
managed to
actually
stall
crash
out and build up his board,
That's fine.
and he's about to drop one of the big guys.
I'm gonna go ahead and paralyzing potion your
Suijin.
Suijin.
Okay.
Pretty good card, I hear. Guess
You
what
don't-
I drew.
Okay, you got your. Okay, phew, okay.
So here,
I almost had a
Simo
heart
finds
Yeah,
the
it's
Wageki
going
off
to
the
be
pot
now.
of greed, and he opts not
Okay,
to
so
use
what
it,
we're gonna do
and
is
I can't
we're going
agree
to
with this.
summon
He's already got the
Golden White
Suijin locked up. He's already going to be able to swing over
And I am going to equip this
his white magical hat with his own,
Sword of
with the
Deep
card out.
Okay.
I'm
But
gonna
I
go to
do think that
battle
once
phase.
his white,
I'm gonna
white magical
swing
hat gets
over
removed,
your
when there's the
pre-baked rat.
battle guard
1000 light.
on the field
Yep,
as
and
well
we're
as
gonna
his
hit a
other
card
monster,
out of
I
your
think
hand.
that was the Wageki point.
There we
But
go.
he
We'll
also
take that
decides
card.
not to do
Alright,
it
you got one
there.
of my mass sorcerer.
I think if you
That's-
were Wageki
oh,
there,
that's a
would
good
be able to
one.
summon that blue winged
That's a
crown.
very good one.
He
I'm gonna
wouldn't
go
have
main
needed to
2.
equip the
I'm
sword to
gonna go ahead
generate
and
board
set this
pressure.
card. Think I
He
wanna
equips the sword to
pass?
beat over the
Yeah,
battle
we'll pass.
guard,
Go
but
ahead.
if
Yeah,
he
I
had
will
just
drop
cleared the board there, I
What do you
think
got?
that was probably
I am going
where
to
I would have used the
tribute my
Wageki.
Suijin
And
for
that
swap
way
battle
he's
card.
he's
Look
not
at
constantly
you.
top decking the sword.
It's a paralyzing
It is a bit unlucky that he's
Sword of
drawn
Deep
two of them,
Seated
but I
goes
still
top
think that
of my
this was
deck.
And then
somewhat
I'm going to
avoidable.
attack you directly for 1000.
Yep.